Mr. Committee,
yeah, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to this session. Hello, can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good evening, everyone. My name is Sukomi Olarewaju. I'm the CEO of Inkeeper. And Inkeeper is a job tech platform that provides talent development and matching services to corporate and startup. The platform is driven by the need to support an organization with top African talent for tech and tech-related roles. Through our constant conversation with employers, we've been able to identify key in-demand skills that young people of today need to be able to excel in the place of work, and also the skills they need to be able to scale and have opportunity to either work remotely or position them for global opportunities. I want to welcome you all to this info session, and I tell you that you're going to be benefiting a whole lot. Stay with us on this 6-day info session. You will enjoy so much from this info session. I want to welcome every one of you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sukomi. Thank you. So moving on this webinar, we have few of the Inkeeper Fellow that gained one or two things from Inkeeper. So first testimonial that we're going to hear today will be from Adebanjo. Adebanjo, are you there with us? Adebanjo, are you with us? Please,
yes,
kindly unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Okay. Am I audible now? Good evening.
Yes, we can hear you, Adebanjo.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I don't know. Yes, I'm Adebanjo Adeniji, an Inkeeper Fellow. How do I start now? Okay, yeah, I'm just told to share my experience and how I transition into tech. All right. First and foremost, tech for me was not even in the picture. Over time, I grew up, just being the normal person. Okay, likes studying, just being diligent like that. So I got a computer. I remember I could type, and I love to type actually. All right, so with that, I just gave me leverage actually. So I could say emphatically the journey started 2018. That was shortly after my SciWest program, what we call IT here in Nigeria. There was this 2 weeks training organized by a church organization like that here in Lagos, and I opted in. Actually, I even wanted to do, what is it called? Is it photography now, or one course like that? Forgotten itself. So all slots were filled, and I could only join web development, and that was how it started, just for 2 weeks. But sadly enough, after that period, I could not continue, and there was just the gap for about a whole year or thereabout. So after my school days, I got another offer. That was when my journey in Inkeeper started actually. So I got another offer, and I just saw it. Though before then I had little knowledge. I've seen guys done stuff even back then in school. I even joked that when I saw someone programming and all that, running some lines of code, I did not understand what it looked like. I was scared that is this what they call programming? Like, wow, nobody can really understand it because it appeared like a computer language indeed. However, too, when I joined Innkeeper, then um, I was taken through from the basics actually. Uh, I was made to love programming. I was made to love software development. I saw coding as not necessarily a challenge, but something that can provide solutions to real life issues. So that really interests me because I've always loved to be a solution person, somebody providing solutions, somebody providing the needed solution for anything as it were, including life and all that. So I saw the opportunity at Innkeeper, and particularly I'm grateful for the mentorship I got from the facilitator. I had about two core facilitator in web dev, and they really took me, you know, I'm talking personally, that I was not the only one in class though. They really took me, from the cradle to all I need just to leverage upon. So that alone, it's a big win for me because I saw it in another light. Many people have heard people said, programming is difficult, programming is this, writing code, how can you store all this on your head and all that? So it made me embrace it more because the mentorship was there for me. So it made me embrace it. I worked on real life projects, different application, using started from HTML, CSS, learned JavaScript, learned the likes of Bootstrap. I also worked with React, worked with PHP, and all that. And there was the opportunity to grow. So I didn't just say I was learning even while getting to apply them on real life projects. So that was the big win for me actually. So like I said, I was not not interested like that, but I was not aware of the benefits, so to say, in coding and programming. But when I started, I saw that this is what I would love doing. I was not even aware of the money involved to that. That was how ignorant I was in web development and all that. It was when I came in fully, I was seeing the opportunity. I was like, I can work as this, I can do this, I can do that. I was like, wow, so this is possible. So that was the big win for me actually. And uh, like they say, the rest is history. Thank God. An opportunity came and I could join a community even outside the walls of Nigeria, working remotely for a South African company. And it's even a higher measure of what I've learned. So I learned front end, using React, JavaScript, but now I'm working on Laravel, core Laravel project. I'm managing the Laravel app, which is live, and it's a CV builder app. It's live, and that's what I manage currently. And it's also another phase of learning, but the leverage has been there. So I didn't really see it as a challenge. I just saw it as something to pick up and just prefer solution. Because one of the key things that helped me throughout my learning phase, even at Innkeeper particularly, was the fact that the instructor emphatically spoke it to us then that we should not see coding as something difficult, but see it as a tool to solve a problem. And that really go a long way in me because you can trust me, any newbie that just have an idea about coding, just looking at a line of code, you'll be pissed off because you literally don't understand what it is structured to be. But that word, it just encourage that no, it's a tool. So there's a problem like, okay, there's a problem of finances. I cannot receive payment in another currency when I buy something from another country. So there is a gap. So there should be a product, a platform where I can put my money and the person will receive in his own currency at the normal exchange rate, and all of that. And when I get, when the payment gets successful, I get my invoice and all of those automated processes and all that. So I saw it as something possible with any desire to. So for me, that was just a big win, and I am very much appreciative of that. And thanks to Innkeeper for the opportunity. Thanks for giving me the leverage to start a career in tech and be the best that I can be. I'm not yet the best, actually. I'm still learning, but I still see myself going far in tech. So I think that's what I have to say. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
From your experience, Adebanjo, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. First of all, thank you for
Hello, Funke, are you there?
for sharing your experience with us. I went down to Kickstart.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on, please. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I didn't get the question. It's broke at a point.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now.
All right, cool. So from your experience,
okay,
what advice would you give to anyone that wants to kickstart a career in the tech industry?
Okay. Well, the advice I can give is, do you really like it? Aside from the notion of the money there, another thing, okay, I think I didn't say it, is the fact that it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's not a get rich quick scheme that, okay, you start it today, tomorrow you are winning the money. I told you I started from 2018. 2018 is still even near like that, but at least I started 2018. There were gaps at some moment. However, my diligence also spoke. So there were opportunities for me to, practice with life projects, and all that. So it's not a get rich quick scheme. So however, like I said, mentorship is key. If you have the right mentorship, in my case, I would have been disappointed. For instance, I never loved further maths from secondary school because my teacher did not make me like it. The man comes maybe once in a term or thereabout. But when I got to the university and we did it in our 100 level there, I was now like, wow. So was this what they were rubbishing, like that in secondary school? So it also tell the right mentorship, and that was what I got from Innkeeper. And like I said, I'm very grateful for that. So I think to answer the question, like I've said, mentorship is key, and the desire is not just enough. Are you really interested to provide solution? So coding or tech or just any skill in tech is providing a particular solution. So if you are emphatic, if you are big on the why, that you are willing to provide a solution and there's an interest, and you can have the access to right mentorship as I did in Innkeeper, I think you are good to go. I don't know if I answered the question.
Fantastic, Adebanjo. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Thank you once again for sharing your experience with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege.
All right. So our next fellow that will be sharing our experience with us, she's Blessing. She's a married woman. Blessing Ito, are you there? Blessing.
Hello, good evening.
All right. Good evening, Blessing. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Blessing. So let's have your experience in the tech world so far. Hello?
Hello,
Can you
can you
hear
hear
me?
me?
Yes,
Yes,
I
I
can
can
hear you,
hear
Blessing.
you.
What about you? Okay, good.
Okay, thank
Good, please,
you.
let's hear you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's really a privilege to be here. I want to count myself among the lucky ones that ended up at Innkeeper. I'll never forget the day I was accepted. I was so elated. I jumped for joy because it was something that I was looking forward to. So let me start with my background. I studied history and international studies. So you know it's way far away from anything tech. It's the arts and humanities for me. And I never even envisioned that I would get into tech any day. I just wanted to further my studies, maybe later on enter into NGO and make a difference in the world. That was my goal. That was my vision. Until my husband had the discussion with his friends and they were talking about tech. Then I was thinking of switching my career and they were talking about tech. And then he pitched the idea to me on that fateful day. I was like, babe, you can go into tech and I'm very sure you'll be good at it. When he said it, I was laughing. I was like, me, tech. I beg, I can't do it, Joe. That was just my response. And then the next thing I saw, he sent me a link. Lo and behold, this was Innkeeper. I applied and I got in. And even when I got in, I was still skeptical about the whole stuff. I was like, I know not. There was no foundation, actually. There was no foundation. I chose digital marketing and I just like, okay, let me go into it and see. But surprisingly, when I started my classes, I met with my facilitators. They were amazing. They broke it down to the barest minimum, like the basic level that you could understand. And I saw myself falling in love with digital marketing and the tech world. And I saw that there was so much more that I could do. There was so much more that I could offer. And it was as if I was blinded before and now I can see. And that was how my journey started, actually. And after we graduated, I was hoping for internship. I got a place. In short, I was very lucky. I could count myself among the lucky ones because in just a space of a week plus, I got an interview. That's to tell you how good our facilitators are at Innkeeper, because by just 2 weeks, I was able to pass an interview for digital marketing internship for something that I did not even, there was no basic foundation, but I went to the interview and I passed it because of our amazing facilitators. And then I started the internship there. After we finished our course, which was just for 2 months plus, we finished, I decided to also apply elsewhere. And I just landed a role in another company where I'm doing better, not just an internship role this time around, it's a full-time role where I'm even giving bigger opportunities to express myself, bigger opportunities to change my world and make myself better. And I'm not just stopping at digital marketing. I'm even looking forward to going into UI and UX design. Like there is a whole lot you can do in tech. The only thing you need to do is be open your mind and see that you can do it. Yes, it's going to be as if it's difficult, it's going to be as if it's challenging, but just believe in yourself and trust in the fact that you can pull through. And also don't forget mentorship. Like my fellow colleague said, mentorship is key. Mentorship is key. And that's one amazing thing you get at Innkeeper. Facilitators, they don't just leave you like that. Even after you are through, they still follow up with you. I can tell you how many times I've communicated with my facilitators in certain issues that I'm finding difficult, and I go and meet in the staff. How do I get past this? How do I get past this? And they are always there to lend a helping hand. So it doesn't just stop at the training, it goes way beyond that. It is a community that we have formed and we have become one. So I would always advise anybody that have the mind to go into tech to just get in there. There's a whole lot out there that you can do for yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Blessing, are you still there?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right, Blessing, quickly before you go, please, what advice would you give to women or anyone out there that want to kickstart a tech career?
Okay, thank you very much. So my advice is don't limit yourself. You can do much more than you think you can. Don't be held down by your status. You might feel, okay, I'm married, I have kids, I can't do it. But let me tell you, you can. I am married, I have a family. If I can do it, then you also can do it. The only thing is just to be disciplined, be committed, be dedicated, and you see yourself shooting to the stars. It is whatever you have conceived in your mind. So my advice for them is just take the gauntlet and run with it. Hello, Funke.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I
All
can
right.
hear you.
Okay, Blessing, thank you so much for your time. For those of you that are just joining this seminar, this seminar is how to kickstart a tech career. And so those two voices you just heard, Blessing and Adebanjo, they are Innkeeper Fellow. They had zero background from tech, but right now I can say they are well vested in the tech industry. They are more comfortable using the new technology. They are more confident with technology right now. So to move properly to the webinar where we get to hear from the professionals. Our first speaker is a manager of strategic partnership and growth industry and in product management and business care analysis. He started his career as a quality assurance officer with a multinational company. Before transitioning into tech, he co-founded bouncer.com.ng, a top-notch security company that provides security for events in Lagos. He has been part of the product team that built a product that trained over 5,000 youths in digital skills in Lagos. So please, let's welcome Dolapo Akimbisola. Please, if you are there, Dolapo Akimbisola, kindly unmute so we can hear from you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Good evening, Dolapo.
Yes, good evening. Am I audible enough? Can you hear me?
Hello, Dolapo. Yes, I can hear you, Dolapo.
Okay, fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Please, can we all hear Dolapo? Can anyone hear Dolapo?
No, we can't hear you. We have lost.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yes, we can.
I was already screaming my lungs out, so I'm wondering what's going on. Okay, great. Yeah, pleased to be here. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah. Yes, great.
Thank you so much, Dolapo. So let's have you. You're our first guest speaker for today.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people waiting to hear what you have to say regards tech, regards your specialties. So I'm also eager.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so let's have you.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for having me. Where do I start from? Let me just say a little about my journey, because again, I understand there is these, thinking around the fact that people feel like for you to be in tech, you have to be able to code like Adebanjo, mention all manner of tech jargon, that a lot of people on this call might be like, hey, that's not for me. I don't code, but I've worked, I've been around tech since 2017. I've worked basically, around building tech solutions, supporting go-to-market, MVPs, and all those. Everything that has to do with around how you can get your product to market, drive market adoption, not just in Nigeria, but even across Africa. Finding the right kind of partnerships, that can ensure that the product can immediately, scale and things around that. So that's really been more like my own role around tech. So, like I said, I necessarily, didn't have to go learn how to code or anything. It started. So I was very intentional, to be very honest. I studied biochemistry, so ordinarily I probably should be in maybe a research lab or maybe an hospital or something. But what happened was, I think by 2015, I started, asking myself some questions, and then I then discovered that I think innovation, looked like what was very interesting to me. So I kept, trying to then get into that space. It didn't happen then until I found myself I had a job that then really exposed me to all of that. And since then, it's been really about, understanding, trends. So again, for someone like me, who is out there who really want to get into tech, one thing that is very critical is, first of all, you must really understand the space. So I think that's where it starts from. You need to, first of all, be able to understand the space, understand tech, understand products, understand, Banjo was talking about, Laravel, PHP, all those languages. You should be able to, have a very good understanding of what is going on. You should be able to also do a lot of research. So I've worked in fintech. Presently, I'm in HR tech. When you were reading my profile, I've worked, supported building a platform that really was around, educating, in partnership with the Lagos State government, and a lot of other. I've worked in farm tech. I can list different kind of tech product that I've really, worked around, strategizing, even from concept. Conceptualizing product themselves. And I necessarily didn't have to be in product, but again, that it took a lot of reading, understanding the space well. So I think that's really the first thing that is very, very important in getting into the space. I also then want to say that interesting thing is that I think on Glassdoor, about 47% of jobs are in tech. So there's a survey report by Glassdoor that says that about 43 or 47% of all the jobs in the tech space are non-tech roles, and that's very interesting statistics. To say that for every tech startup, a very large percent, if there's 100, if a tech startup has 100 employees, is saying that 43 of them are non-tech roles, right? So they're necessarily not the guys who are the back end, the engineer, or the front end, or in the core tech, doing the core tech work. But of course, these are all the people that are supporting, the tech process, the products, go to market, and everything around. So I think I can pause here. I don't know if you have specific questions so that I can then, just address those questions.
Please, if anyone have a question for Dolapo, kindly make use of the chat box before he leaves, or before we welcome the other speaker. Please, you have close to like 3 minutes to do that. if you have any questions for Dolapo, kindly make use of the chat box. I'll be checking through for questions right.
Okay. So while the question come, I just want to mention to anybody out there. So you might be asking.
You have like 3 minutes to do that.
Okay. So while we're waiting for the question, there could be someone who is asking that what are the possible roles in tech that are not necessarily require coding. So I'll just mention a few. So you can be a product manager. You can be a technical writer. You can also be a UX designer. You can be an SEO, SEM specialist. You can be a UX designer, like I mentioned. There's also a UX writer. So these are the guys who, all of those lettering, what you see on products, these are the guys who actually write all those things, come up with those scripting that you see. You can be a social media strategist. You can be technical salesperson. You can be in strategy like myself. You can be a product marketer. So again, there's a lot. You can be a content writer. So there's a lot of opportunities in the tech space for those who are not, even in core tech. There's a lot of opportunity. You can be a QA engineer. A QA analyst. All of these are roles that necessarily do not require core tech. You can be business analysts. So there's a lot. There's a lot. You can be a community manager. So for those of you, really love, to manage community, especially for, tech products. Many of them, because for adoption, for growth and all of that, you probably need someone to be able to then manage, build a community around those products, and so that it can really scale. So you can also be a community manager, and all of this. So these are possible, career paths that you really can pursue. And you can really, you can build a career, you can build a future around all of this. So I don't know if there are other questions. I've not seen any question actually. Okay. I think one last thing I would then like to say from my own end before maybe the question comes in or any other specific question is, so you might be asking that what do you do to get into tech? What are the things you need to learn? What are the things you need to, how do you position yourself, in getting into the tech space? I would say that number one is that you have to critically, first of all, look at yourself and then take a stock of where you are as an individual. Again, the reason for that is because it helps you to, properly harness and channel your inner skills, right? Your skills, your personality. All of these, form a, they're part of the piece of the puzzle that helps you to then, transition and even do well. So again, if before now you've had more experiences around sales, it might just make sense for you to, become a technical salesperson, in the sense that you then be a salesperson, but for tech, right? For instance, if you have design skills or you're someone who appreciates design, it might be very interesting for you to rather just move into UI UX, be a UX designer. If you're better at writing, before now you're good at drafting content and all of that, you might just be very good at being a content writer. So again, the first thing you need to do is take a stock of yourself, take a stock of your experiences. Where are you coming from? Where are you at the moment? And then you can then use that to then channel a direction to where you then want to go in tech. Another thing is, so based on that analysis you've done, then you need to then look at so for instance, if you didn't need to do any training at all, what tech role are you ready for? Are you, right now, as you are right now, what tech role do you think you are ready for? Again, based on where you're coming from, yes, where your interests, at times you might not have experience in that particular field, but you might have serious interest. Probably you've consumed a lot of information on that, and that might just help you, position you and help you to immediately, transition as easy as possible. And again, once you've done all of this, put all of this piece together, then you can connect the dots. The guys at Inkeeper, like they mentioned, they have a lot of other non-tech, like the other fellow woman who spoke. She's more on I think digital marketing, and she says she's even going into UI, into UX. So again, they have some courses that you can also sign up to, and then begin to build a profile on. And again, I mean, there are other supporting courses that you can also learn online, to put yourself, to position yourself better for that particular sector you are then choosing to work in. So I think that's all for me right now, except there are specific questions I'll be very happy to answer.
Okay, thank you so much. We have a question for you. Someone has a question for you. The question says, what would you suggest as the first step is interested in coding?
I didn't get the question. Come again, please.
Okay, the question says, what would you suggest as the first step at transiting into tech? Can you hear me?
Yes, I get. What will I suggest or advise to be the first step for what? I didn't get that.
Let me take the question again. Okay. What would you suggest as the first step at transiting into tech, especially if one is interested in coding?
Oh, okay. I mean, it's okay. Okay, thank you. If you're interested in coding, it's very simple. What you need to do is get knowledge. So first thing you need to do is get trained, right? So sign up to a community like Inkeeper. Again, there are different aspects of coding, and that they again different roles. So you want to be a backend, you want to be a web developer, you want to be a mobile app developer, Android. I mean, so there are a lot of different verticals that you can work in. So first thing you need to do is to get into a place like Inkeeper, and then they will then be able to listen to you, understand exactly what you need to do, and then you can then start learning. But again, the major thing you need to do to transition is to, of course, get knowledge. So learning comes first, really. I don't know if I've answered that question.
Finally, before Dolapo says goodbye on his session, does anyone has any other question before we call up our second speaker for tonight? No question? Thank you so much, Dolapo. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, my pleasure.
All right, thank you so much. Once we hear from them. So moving on tonight's session, we have our second speaker, Chidima Esther Moghalu. She's a BSc holder in crop science. She graduated from University of Benin. She's the CEO of Diamond Arts Concepts, a company that is into building software products.
She's a software development instructor, and she's currently served as web development facilitator at Inkeeper. Please, Chidima, if you are here, kindly unmute so we can have you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to be around for this webinar. It's been awesome, and the speakers have really done a lot of justice to the topic today. Okay, sorry about that breaking transmission for a moment. So basically, I'll just talk about the misconceptions that people have had over time with programming, right? So one of the beautiful things about programming is the fact that there is a low barrier of entry, right, to it. So I've seen people, I've had to speak with people, and they say things like, oh, they would like to get into tech, but they feel like it's not for them. Things like, my head can't carry it, and stuff like that. So the truth of the matter is that, from the movies we've watched over time, we've had that misconception that, okay, so programming is for, super smart, you have to be born a genius and all of that. So really what programming, one of the ways to help deal with such misconceptions is actually to look at it from the place of the difference between programming and coding. Programming and coding, right? So basically, what you do when it comes to writing coding, I tell my students, right? Another developer can disagree. But personally, from experience, writing the code for a program is like 30% of the work. The real work it's done in the programming aspect. So what do I mean? The programming part of the programming part of developing a software is where you have to think, like really think through the process of development, right? Thinking through the process of development. So you have a problem, you have to think about the steps in solving the problem. And then when you really understand the problem, so first of all, when you really understand the problem, you can prepare the steps for solving the problem. Now, when you've prepared the steps, you understand what it is you really want to do, then you can write code. So one of the things I tell my students most times is that you need to understand that these things are tools. That's what they are, right? And they were written by humans like yourself, you and I, right? So they are tools, that's what they are. So it's like giving you a box of tools, right? Like two persons, a box of tools. And I tell them, oh, build me a car. That's usually my favorite example. Now, I give them the model, everything I want the car to be able to do. Okay, so maybe not the model, but everything I want the car to be able to do. Now, these two persons are going to build me that car. So say they have the expertise to actually do that. So these two guys are going to build me that same car, right? But if you watch the steps, you will see that it's not the same steps they're going to use and not the same method, though they achieve the same result. That stems from the understanding of the fact that these things in this box, they are tools. So what do I mean? HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, whatever it is, they are all tools. The core challenge in programming is in understanding the problem, then using the tools to solve the problem. So it is not first an HTML, CSS problem. It's not first a UI, UX problem. It's not first a JavaScript problem or a Python problem, right? It is first a problem that you then use JavaScript, Python, HTML, CSS, whatever it is to solve. That needs to be understood. It's a really helpful insight. So it is first a problem, right, that you require tools to solve. So when you are faced with the problem, your next question is, I get the problem, I understand the problem, I have the steps to the problem. So what tool will make more sense in this kind of situation? What tools will actually help me get this thing done? I don't know if you understand that. So now that brings me to the place where I say it again. You step every morning when you want to, okay, so maybe not every morning, but whenever you want to step out of your house and say you are going to an eatery, right? You are unconsciously running some sort of algorithm, right? So you get to your door, that's the first step. You open it, probably the second step, or the feature of the first step. You walk down your stairs if you have a staircase, you get to your gate, you walk through, even walking through the streets down to the road where you get the bike. You do these things every day, right? Okay, so I had an opportunity of speaking with a lawyer, and thankfully she joined the program and she could see for herself that it's something she could do. You know, so when I said, oh, program, why don't you give it a shot? And she just laughed, like, really? I said, yes, do. So the whole idea is you need to understand why you are doing it. There has to be a why. And your why really has to be strong so that you can stand through whatever challenge you get to face when you actually start programming, right? So the key takeaway I want to say here, it's that misconception that, oh, let's come learn to code. Learning to code is great. So coding, what's coding? So maybe I didn't explain the difference. So programming is that place of understanding the problem and figuring out how you want to solve the problem. That's actually usually the biggest challenge. That's like 60 to 70% of the problem, really. Then when you understand this problem, so let me use the example of a story, right? I'm a writer, for example, though I do write. I used to write before. Writing was one of the things I did before I became a programmer. So imagine someone tells me a story and asks me to write a story, like in English, obviously, and I start to write. So now the first thing is not in jumping and getting my book and paper out and start writing the story. No, I'd have to listen to the story. Then from the story, I can tell, okay, so why not you've said a lot of things, but I feel like this thing you said in the middle should be said first or last. And then, oh, so this is going to be the height of the story. Like when you put this part of the story at this point, you will get your user's attention very strongly, you know. Then when you put this part of the story, start with this part so that you can keep their attention to the climax. Okay, so put this at the end, like that. So, but first I will need to understand the story, the storyline and everything before I then sit down, take my paper and biro and then write the story. That's how programming versus coding works. You need to understand the problem, try and get around the problem, get your algorithms down, try to understand the step-by-step pattern you're going to use to solve the problem. Then you get down to coding, which is translating that which you now understand to code. In this case, from my example, to English, right? So I believe I have been able to, help our misconceptions about programming. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chidima. Thank you for sharing that experience with us and sharing your thoughts with us regards your specialties. Before she goes, does anyone have a question? Okay, there's a question here for you, Chidima. If you have any other question, please kindly use the chat box for your question. This one says, please, I would like to know more about cybersecurity.
Oh, okay. Cybersecurity basically is about security, right? Securing the products that you create. Securing the product that you create, you have things like penetration testing, it's a whole world of its own, right? So basically, layman's term, cybersecurity is about securing products, protecting it from harm, like hackers and stuff. So I don't exactly, work with cybersecurity, but security is something that everyone works with, right? So even when you're building products, you have to be conscious of security. But basically, if you want to go into cybersecurity, right, you can think of checking online, reading more about it, right? And trying to understand, okay, so do the guys who protect mobile applications, are they different from the guys who protect blockchain? Are they different from the guys who protect web products? And one of the things that I know personally about cybersecurity, right, is you attempt to hack a product, and then those vulnerabilities, you fix them, right? So you have to think ahead of the bad guys and try and protect. So that's what I can say about it. So it's not really my forte, but yeah, it's still it's still part of what we do, right? Thank you.
The person that asked this question, I hope you gotten what you wanted. There's another one here. How can one be certified to be able to build a successful career in tech? Did you get the question?
Okay, so basically, to have a successful career in tech, well, so it's a bit difficult to answer, because not because it's impossible to answer. So over the years, right, you read stuff like you need so and so number of years to really be good, right, and stuff like that. So someone can get tons of certificates and still not know jack about what they do, right? So to actually build a successful career in tech, one of the major core things you have to do is to learn to stay up to date with the current changes and updates. That happens a lot. That happens a lot. You can blink your eyes in 3 months and an update has happened, right? Then you should have a community that you consistently communicate with, community of learners like yourself. It actually makes it faster. So, and that's one of the things that Inkeeper offers, like the training offers. So you have that community of students, you have assignments, and you're putting your head together to try and figure it out. And even after the training, that community just keeps going on, right? I still, like back when I learned software development, the group chat we had when we started out is still very active. We ask questions there and stuff. So this career path is not a path that you'd how do I put this now? You go alone. So you go as a team, you go as a team. There should be that person you talk to, mentorship. I heard, some of the speakers talking about mentorship, the importance of mentorship. It makes your work way easier, like it cuts the journey, permit me to say, in half. What should have taken you naturally 3 years, 5 years, will take you about a year or 2, right? Because I've heard people boast about how that, no, you need 5 years, 10 years to actually be good at this thing. That's not true. You can be good in a year or 2 if you want. It's a choice. How badly do you want it? And what are you willing to do to get there? Like, are you willing to keep the late night? So imagine you have a job. So can you get back from your job and have that time when you still keep practicing? Not just the tech stacks used in your company, but just pick up a tech stack for fun, right? So it's basically about grit, community, yeah, and staying fresh. Yeah, thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much, Chidima. Thank you so much for your time, for sharing sharing this with us. Thank you. Okay, for those of you that you have more days to join us. You get to talk to professionals on how to kickstart a tech career. So to wrap up tonight's section, we'll be hearing from the co-founder of 8th Gear Partner, an independent studio that grows businesses to profitability. And he will also be sharing with us how to transit into tech effortlessly. Please welcome Mr. Damilola Obidaru. Please, if you are there, Mr. Damilola, kindly unmute, please.
Hello all.
Good evening, Mr. Damilola.
Good evening. It's an interesting conversation I've had so far, and I would not want to take so much of your time to go ahead. But in summary, I'd love to encourage every young person who has had the testimonials from the Inkeeper alumni and who has had some of our guests speak and share about their experience. It would be great to have them take the bull by the horn and ensure that they do not let opportunities pass them by. Every opportunity comes with a cost of what you need to put into it to turn it around. I think that none of the speakers or the alumni has made a claim that you just come into this and then, magic happens. A good number of them have had to put in the work to make it happen for their lives. So we'll be very, very happy to see a good number of young people who will take advantage of learning opportunities around them to better their own lot. I encourage that those who are employers out there as well, who may have had the opportunity to listen to this, to also consider, giving young people that opportunity to put their best foot out there and then to see what wonderful things that young people can do. So I'll take questions from you if you have any specific.
Please, if you have any question for Mr. Damilola, kindly make use of the chat box, please, before we wrap up tonight's session. Okay, we have one here. By young, please, what do you mean?
By young. So
age limits.
Okay, so age is just a number, and if you do not mind